The big argument when I first really got into technology, back when the internet was first available to me in the early 90s, it was all about OS 2 versus Windows. Big, huge flame wars that never went anywhere, much like OS 2 for those of you who were on that side. Sorry about that. These days, the big war seems to be between iOS and Android, even though we've talked about several times over. They're really in completely separate universes, and that's okay. They're competing, but they're also not competing at the same time. iOS, locked down, really only available on the devices Apple wants it available on. The ecosystem works, and you can't deny. What was their earnings call? Just happened right before this broadcast. It was 37 million? Was it something like that? Was it 37 million? 37 billion? Which one was it? They made a lot of money. So for the iPhone 4S allegedly being a disappointment, I'd say I'd be pretty happy with that disappointment. On the other hand, you have Android, and it's open-ish. It's not completely open. I don't want to go into that again, but the idea behind Android as a platform, not just an operating system, a platform upon which experiences can be built, gives it the power that it has. You could run it pretty much on anything that can run it. That's what makes it so wonderful. But along with the variety of devices that might be available on any platform, inevitably there is a word that's introduced, and it's, to some, even though there are more than 4 letters in the word fragmentation, it is a 4-letter word. We've done an article that I think Android lovers would appreciate, as well as people who may not be fans of Android should also appreciate. Aptly titled, and this is, by the way, written from the perspective of a diehard, I would consider, a diehard Android user, and backed up with quotes from Android developers. So Eddie Ringel crafted the article on LockerGnome.com. Click the link in the description. You can read along with me. Programmers, well, I'm not going to read verbatim. Programmer's perspective, how Android's fragmentation can be a good thing. And it's very rare that you'd hear fragmentation being a good thing. But Eddie, I believe, asserts his point of view, and it does it very, very well. I reviewed the article before it was published and, offered some suggestions. Google is getting better at this. So if you're not familiar with the core of what fragmentation is and why it might be a bad thing, since Android, much like Windows, can run on a variety of hardware configurations, what might work on one device may not work on another. Even though they may both be running Android, there's some degree of incompatibilities potentially between the two, and that creates fragmentation. You've got 1,000 different devices to choose from rather than just 3. And those 1,000 different devices don't need to be cross-compatible with one another. But you have a fragmentation where an experience on one device is going to be completely different than another. So as Eddie reached out to this developer, Jake Wharton, who, by the way, develops for both Android and general web, applications, web-based apps. The guy's got experience and certainly speaks very well as to this not really being an issue. As much of an issue is some, detractors would say, those who would say that Android is a big fat bucket of fail thanks to fragmentation, it's getting better. Google has, clamped down on the amount of customizations that can be made on top of Android, pretty much wiping out additional frameworks that might confuse users. That might increase the chances of incompatibilities between one Android configuration and another. And as Android continues to mature, this is going to get better for the user. So the idea, and this is insight, and I'm going to read directly from the article here. And as I said, there's a lot of good nuggets in here for all of you who don't really see Android as having an issue with fragmentation today. It's there, it's just not as pronounced. This is a quote from Jake within the article. The Android platform has been fundamentally designed since 1.6 with advanced filtering mechanisms for nearly every asset to allow targeting layouts, menus, strings, images, icons, various objects and platform components so that the best available option is always used. There are simple, well-documented patterns to implement the same functionality for filtering your code. There is zero reason that you should not be able to write an application that targets every platform, every screen, and every device. So more than anything, it's not a shortcoming of the platform. It's more of a shortcoming of developers. You could have a sloppy developer on any platform, writing any code. I can tell you, despite Apple saying there are how many thousands of applications in the App Store, most of them suck. I'm not kidding. A lot of them are very poorly designed. Same can be said for any platform. But what Jake's saying is that Android can support it. It's just that developers seem to be a little lazy. That's what he's saying, not me. But I guess it would make sense. If a developer had not optimized his or her code properly to run in the variety of configurations, well, it's no surprise. This only exacerbates the decision-making processes, and specifically the fumbles that someone has to go through. It makes it worse because if you have your favorite software here and it runs fine on this phone that's running the Android operating system, and you switch to another phone and suddenly it doesn't work as well anymore, that just introduces frustration. What Jake's saying is it's not really Android's fault. It's potentially the developer's fault, at least since 1.6. And here we are with 4.0 in front of us. It looks to be an amazing upgrade for those of you who can get it. See, there's another issue with fragmentation is the over-the-air updates. And being able to push out newer versions of the operating system to every Android phone. That just increases the possibility of fragmentation being a frustration. But it's not Android's fault. That might be the carrier's fault. So this is someone who loves Android, and he's making very cogent points, whether you like Android or not. I still believe that it's necessary we have an alternative to everything in the marketplace, whether you choose to support it or not. Competition is always healthy. You need someone nipping at your heels if you intend on moving forward with any speed. So take a look. I was, as I said, wanting to pull up that quote from the article, if only because I wanted to +1 it, share it, and like it on YouTube. Or not on YouTube, this is on YouTube, on Facebook and Twitter. But I thought that, for those of you who thought I was biased and did not like Android, I just wanted to point out that that's A, it's never been the case, and B, we take a very balanced approach with the content that we provide for you, no matter what phone you use, no matter what platform you love on LockerGnome.com. We cater to all geeks, no matter how you care to support us.